Okay, so good night, everyone, and welcome back to the first D-Tools Cloud After Dark webinar of 2025. Thank you for being D-Tools customers, tuning in, and continuing to give us so much helpful feedback. We are really excited about this year and our roadmap. Tonight's topic is the catalog. Like always, I'm going to breeze through a presentation of our agenda before we dive in.
If you're a new user, welcome to the D-Tools Cloud team. I'm Leanne. I also go by LB, and I'm a customer success manager here at D-Tools. I'll be hosting this evening. Andre and Tiffany are also customer success managers, and we're here to help train you guys, coach you on best practices, and pass your feedback on to our product and development team. Megan and Veronica are your D-Tools Cloud account managers, and they're here to help guide you as you onboard and maximize your use of the software by adding training hours and services to help you guys to scale your businesses.
All right, so again, tonight we're covering all things catalog. Data is king. One of the neatest things about DTools Cloud is our ability to provide you guys with the latest brands, the models, part numbers, images, and descriptions. They're all at your disposal. So we're going to start by talking about where to get connected to your suppliers to pull in your specific dealer pricing and how to add any brands or pricing that might not be available by using our CSV import feature. We'll also talk about where to add accessories in the catalog and how to mark an item as a favorite and creating brand price rules to manage pricing for your customers. Adding equipment is important, but so is getting paid for time and labor. So I'll show you where to create your different labor types and adjust your hourly rates, and where to assign your phases because we've just shipped some new job costing features and we're really excited about that. And we'll talk about fulfillment locations and how to adjust those hourly costs and pricing based on different company locations or wherever you choose to do business. We're going to talk about the power and flexibility of allowances, one of my favorite DTools Cloud cheat codes. You can calculate line items using percentages of your product and labor totals or by the square footage of the area. We'll cover packages to create a more repeatable process and save even more time when quoting, and alternate sets, creating good, better, best scenarios so that we can speed up the proposal turnaround time. And we can't forget our service plans. We'll talk about where to find your service plans and monitoring agreements and how to add pricing and plan features to them. And lastly, how to add these plans or agreements to your quote. Right, so please start generating that recurring revenue this year, even if you aren't making it mandatory. As a best practice, just add them to your proposals anyway and make them optional. Right, no more freebies. Okay, so let's find the catalog tab over in the navigation bar to the left. We do have some new users in this group tonight, so the one thing that you don't want to forget to do before quoting is connect to your suppliers. So I'm going to find the Manage Pricing button up in the top right of the screen and find our available partners. All right, so by connecting to your suppliers, we're pulling in your specific dealer costs for your parts. And notice I have two tabs here. My pricing is showing me all of the suppliers that I'm already connected to. And of course, the available suppliers are listed here on the second tab. So to get connected, we're just going to request access and pop in your credentials. There's this little plug icon here to request access. Read your pricing disclaimer. Okay. And pop in your credentials. Most ask for an account number and billing zip code, and some just ask you to simply log into your account, but super easy to get connected. All right. You can also see which suppliers provide real-time pricing. We have these tags here to the left, and those that update pricing monthly, quarterly, and so on. Okay, and we're always updating our suppliers. So just because you've been in the software for a while, please check back and get connected to your partners. All right. So listed under the Catalog tab, we have the DTools library. Okay, so the DTools library gives you access to our entire database of products. Here you can search for a brand or by category and add parts to your catalog if you'd like to do some setup beforehand. But one of the coolest things about DTools Cloud is that you can create an opportunity and start adding parts to a quote and be building your catalog out at the very same time. So again, once you start adding parts to your quote, they're going to show up under My Products. All right, but I'm just going to search for, let's use 2 gig tonight. Okay, and I'm going to get a whole bunch of options here. And I can just start adding parts from the library to my products, right? And I'll get this check mark, and it says added to catalog. Okay, so just because you connect with a supplier, it doesn't mean that we're going to just dump all of those products into your catalog. We don't want to overload you like that. But again, feel free to come here to the DTools library and add parts here. I like to do it straight from inside of my quote. All right, and let's find the My Products tab. Okay, so now I'm looking at every part I've ever quoted or imported using a CSV or an Excel file or added from that same DTools library using that tab above. Right? If you're using a special brand that we don't carry today or pricing is unavailable, we do have an import feature up in the top right of the screen. All you'll need is your price sheets and make sure to check out our file guidelines. You'll definitely need columns for the brand, model, unit cost, and unit price. All right, and there's also a sample file here that you can reference, and then you're just going to map to our fields and update the products that we have in the library or create new products that aren't available. So we won't be creating any double data entries. And please always reach out to us to let us know when we are missing brands, but also let your reps know that you're using DTools, and it would be a great opportunity for them to also be a part of our library. All right, so our data team is constantly working to get your stuff in here, but this will certainly help to speed up that process. All right, it takes no time at all to import these products. Notice I have a little green star by some of my items here. You guys can also add items to your favorites to make them easier to find when searching. All right, so when you hover over an item and find this ellipsis to edit, you're going to get lots of actions here. But let's go ahead and open this up. Okay, here we have our images. You guys are more than welcome to add your own. The brand, model, part number, and short descriptions are listed here at the top. And then there's the long description here. Right, these are all fields that you guys can turn on and off when displaying your products on your proposals. And then here's our pricing information to the bottom left. Right, I can see that I'm connected to ADI and my dealer cost is $196.65. Right, so this is what I'm getting it for. And this is coming over from my personal ADI account because I popped in my account number and got approved. Right? And notice there's another orange tag here that says that a price rule has been set. So I've created a brand price rule for all of my 2 gig products. So just because I'm connected to ADI, it doesn't mean that a unit price is always going to come over because we don't really know what you want to sell this part for. Right? You might want to sell it at MSRP or maybe your margins are a bit higher. Right? So in some cases, unit price might show up, and then in others, we suggest setting up a brand price rule. I really love this feature. So under taxable, we have this green text here to edit. All right, so the price for all of my 2 gig parts, right, when it comes over is going to be 110% of the MSRP. So if you wanted it to be the actual price of MSRP, you would just pop in 100, but I'm marking it up a little bit more, so it's 110%. Okay. Leave your costs alone, right? If you guys are connected to a supplier, there's no need to fill in this field. Only tinker here with the price. Okay, and then when you save, just make sure to apply it to all of your products moving forward. Right, so again, the next time that I pull in any 2 gig product, it's going to come in at 10% more than my MSRP. You can also change your default supplier here, right? I'm going to leave it at ADI for now, but if you do change it, just don't forget to hit this advanced tab here, and again, apply it to all of your products. All right, so let's actually leave this, and I'm going to find a Sunbright TV. All right, so let's search for one of those, and we'll use this favorite as an example. Okay. So we talked about all of the elements here, but notice we do have some tabs up at the top of this page. So I'm going to find accessories. All right. So I actually do want to add an accessory. Wall mounts for a TV or maybe an HDMI cable for a projector are some good examples of accessories. Think parents and then child. All right, so I'm actually going to add a mount here. And let's go ahead and add this one. Okay, and see that it is recommended, right? So we have 3 different types of accessories in DTools Cloud. We have recommended, required, and optional, right? So I'm actually going to edit this and find these drop downs, right? Again, required, recommended, and optional. And let's go ahead and make this required. All right, so based on these options listed here, I'm going to be prompted or required to add this mount when adding the parts, right, this Sunbright TV in this case, to my quote. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. You guys can also set up category rules, right? So if you wanted a mount on all of your display devices, you can go ahead and set that up as well. All right, and I can go ahead and edit my rule. Okay, so on all of my display devices, because I'm editing a TV here, I can make sure that this mount is recommended. All right, so this kind of just took over what I had required there, but we'll leave it here. All right, and actually, let's go ahead and add this. So I'm going to add this Sunbright TV to an actual quote. I kind of just switched gears here, guys. I just want to show you what this looks like. Fine, and I'm going to add that in, and then here's that accessory. Right, so remember I enabled that category rule, so I'm going to recommend that we add this mount. And I'm going to go ahead and pop that in. All right, so accessories are great because you don't want to forget certain parts when quoting. And then again, go ahead and create some category rules and update your items to required or recommended so that you don't have to think twice about it. All right, and there's that accessory. Okay, but let's get back to the catalog. I'm going to exit this view. And let's find our labor types. All right. So here's where you're going to set up all of your different labor services. My holy trinity is installation, programming, and pre-wire for anyone here that's just getting started. That's pretty standard. All right. And there's also two different ways that you guys can quote labor. We have our itemized labor option, where DTools is giving you a healthy head start and estimating how long it'll take you to install your equipment by products. Or you can just simply search for these labor types in your quote, edit the amount of hours, or give it a fixed price. Or you can do a combination of both. All right. Now, if you choose to use our itemized labor option, once you've added our suggested labor, you can always edit that time and we'll continue to do the math for you. So we might suggest that it'll take you 30 minutes to install a pair of speakers, but you might get it done in 20, right? You guys can totally configure it yourselves. Right now, I have that rule set to on, right? So it's automatically adding time to my parts, but you can always switch to suggested. You'll just get a prompt to add that time instead, and you can always just turn it off completely, right? And then again, just add in those labor line items. All right, I'm going to open up my installation labor type. And I do want to mention that it is important to assign a phase here, especially with our brand new job costing features that we just shipped. All right, and you guys can find the new job costing tab in your projects under the review tab. All right, and that's actually, I think I have a window open here. It looks like this. All right, so again, just switch gears. We're here in a project, and it's here underneath the review tab. All right. So back to our installation labor type. We also have something called fulfillment locations. That's here at the very bottom. I'm going to go ahead and enable that. If you have different company locations or places that you do business in and your labor rates are different, you can easily adjust your hourly costs and pricing by selecting the fulfillment location dropdown when creating an opportunity. All right, so here are those fulfillment locations, right? Usually I'm here in Atlanta. It's the same as my default. But if I was going to be doing some work in Miami or I had a Miami location, when I'm creating an opportunity, right, here's that window. And then here's that fulfillment location drop down. All right, so make sure to get your labor set up correctly in your catalog. All right, so let's find our allowances. That is the next tab. I love allowances. I always say when in doubt, use an allowance. They can be used for a number of things, right? So let's say you're building a surveillance quote for a client, but they aren't quite sure what brand they'd like to use. Here I have a camera allowance that isn't specific to any brand, but I can use it as a very generic line item to get my client somewhat of a budget or an idea of what they'll be spending with me, right? So I'm just going to pop in maybe $500 here. All right, I have some labor associated with it, but again, just a really flexible tool. All right, and then once you've quoted them up, then you guys can always come back and change it to whatever brand you choose. All right, we also have calculated allowances. When you're creating an opportunity, there is a field for the square footage of your location. Just going to quickly jump back over, and here it is, your square footage, right? Let's call it 5,000 here. Okay, but then back to my allowances. I have a lighting control allowance, and I'm going to go ahead and edit this. All right. And then here I have my unit price and cost set by the square foot. Right. And here's that edit calculated price underneath the taxable field. Right. And again, I have my cost determined by area. Same thing with my price. All right. So when I add this line item to my quote, it's going to do the math for me. But don't forget to put in that square footage again when you're creating that opportunity. And I also have a miscellaneous materials allowance here. All right, so this is basically taking a percentage of my product totals, right? And again, we're going to do that math for you. Okay, so when I edit, instead of using area, I'm using the percentage. All right, I also like to create my miscellaneous materials as an adjustment. That way it just shows up in my summary because it is going to show up as a line item should you do it this way, right? But either way, it all works the same. Okay, so a super flexible tool when trying to get a quote or proposal out the door. And packages. Okay, so we love a good cookie cutter tool. If you're using the same recipe or bundle of products for similar jobs, we highly suggest creating packages to quickly drop them all in at once instead of searching for them over, or excuse me, searching for each item over and over again. All right, so you can create packages of products and labor, which is more common, or bundle labor types together alone. All right, but let's take a look at my theater room package here. Okay, so if I scroll down to the very bottom, here's my list of items. You guys can search your catalog by typing here in this search bar. Right? But I already have my speakers and my projector. And of course, I can see my accessories here listed on my parent items. And then as far as pricing, up here, you can have the total computed from the price of each item there in the package, or set a fixed price and mark it up a little bit higher. All right, so right now it's at 17.1. Maybe I just want to override this and call it 17.5. Make it clean. All right. And then when I add this to my quote, right, let's go ahead and add this to my theater. So right now I'm in a quote, and I'm going to remove this projector. And let's search for my theater package. And there it is. I'm going to go ahead and pop that in. All right, and I get this little carrot here to the left, and I can go ahead and expand this. Right, it'll show me all of my parts. Right? So you guys are the experts. We're just creating the best solutions for our clients because a lot of the time they don't know what they don't know. And it'll also make it easier on you guys when it comes down to installing and programming all of this equipment efficiently. All right, so speaking of offering the best solutions, that brings us to alternates. So back into the catalog, I'm going to leave my package and find my alternate sets. All right, so alternates are again a great way to provide good, better, and best scenarios and packages to your clients in a proposal. All right, these items can be products, labor types, and even packages. So let's take a look at my URC remotes. Let's go ahead and edit this. All right, you're going to give it a name, assign it to a category, and add a short description if you like. And then you're just going to start to search for those different options here in the search bar. All right, but I already have my good and better option here. All right, and my better remote is my recommended item. Of course, you can see the price differences here. And if your client decided to choose one of these, you can decide whether you want to keep your accessories and keep the labor tied to it. All right. I like to use these fields for good, better, and best. If you're using different colors for cameras, you can use those fields for that. Same thing with different sizes for TVs. All right, make it your own. So then when added to the quote, the customer is going to see all of these items under the alternate set in the proposal, and again, choose their preferred one. All right, and we can actually do that again. Let's just add some remotes here. All right, and then there's that alternate set. And there it is. Okay, so we're just speeding up the revision process here and trying to eliminate some of the back and forth. Just give your clients all the bells and whistles and let them shop your proposal, pick what they want, and sign and pay. And make sure you guys sign up for D-Tools payments where you can collect your deposit as soon as they accept and sign. All right, so let's leave this alternate set. And our last stop is service plans. All right. These were originally found in our general settings, but they're listed here under the catalog tab. So a service plan is an agreement for ongoing support, maintenance, and repair services for a product or system. And then a monitoring agreement is to provide regular observation, reporting, and maintenance services to make sure that a system is operating securely. Both types of plans share very similar components, but they have different types of features that can be added to them. But let's take a look at one of my service plans. All right, let's take a look at my platinum. Okay, so when creating a service plan, first think about what you want to name it. Right, some good examples I've seen are essential care and concierge care, or simply silver, gold, and platinum. And right now I'm kind of doing a combination of both. So here's where the plan is defined. All right, you can set a fixed price, like I have here for $199. All right, or calculate the price of the plan based on your project totals. Right, we can also make it dynamic. Right, but I'm actually going to keep it at fixed, and let's pop in. I think we were at 179 a month. All right, and then here my plan features are listed, right? We already provide you guys with some examples. If I click this green text here, we're going to get all of these options over to the right. All right, and then let's just click on one of my examples here, right? I have a maximum, or this plan offers a maximum of 10 service calls per month at no charge. I can go ahead and edit this. And we've also given you guys some nice examples here if you're just getting started, right? Some D-Tools examples. Add them to your plan, and of course, you guys can change your display text. All right, change it to match your company's nomenclature. We have our T's and C's. Make sure to add these. And as a best practice, we do suggest that you require your client to confirm that they've read your terms. That is this little checkbox over to the right. All right, so once you've created your service plans or monitoring agreements, after creating an opportunity or a service opportunity, you're going to add them to your quote. All right, and I have another tab here. So right now I'm in an opportunity, right, and in a quote, and I can actually take a step back here. All right, so in our opportunity details, I'm going to jump into the quote, and then over to the left, underneath the design tab, here I have my service plans. All right, and I can pop these in. All right, I'm going to add all three, and there they are. All right, and I'm actually going to make two of these optional. All right, and then this one will show up as my recommended one on my proposal. Okay, and that's pretty much the last step. Unless you plan to edit this section on your proposal, you can definitely customize what you'd like to present to your client. But create your service plans in the catalog, and then once you're in the opportunity and in the quote, add them here. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much a wrap on today's catalog in DTools Cloud.